How's it going, friends? My name is Jesse. As you guys may know, this is Meal Nurse Mentor. Today I want to give you guys just my honest, blunt, reaction to just seeing nursing layoffs, nurses quit, right? Like my general thoughts with that. From someone who's been in the field for like 6.5 years. I graduated in the fall of 2018, began working as a nurse in 2019, right before the COVID pandemic. So that's context. The layoffs, friends, it's unfortunate. It's almost a lot more common to see that this is happening. I know I made a video some time ago that it was happening. Well, it's still in the air. And it's unfortunate, but my general thought with that is that healthcare is the business. And when it comes to that, just like any other business, it's penny pinching profits over the product, right? It doesn't matter where you go. You can go to restaurants nowadays and, maybe the quality of the cheeseburger that you were getting before isn't the quality that you're getting, now, right? It's not the same. It's going to be the same thing in healthcare because it is a business, right? And it's a capitalistic society, right? At the very tippy top of this umbrella. People can think healthcare is going to be protected, but it's a business and it's a capitalistic society where profits matter. And if the money isn't, funding things in a certain way where people are then getting their money, which is, people in high ranked positions, it's going to not trickle down, right? People are going to they're going to siphon the money and keep it at the top, and it's not going to trickle down to the product. It's not going to trickle down to the nurses on the floor, right? And that's just my general thought with the layoffs. When it comes to seeing nurses quit, right, that has always slowly kind of been a thing. Maybe it's a little bit more of a thing now because of the quality of the workforce of being a nurse, right? You see left and right, maybe some coworkers, colleagues, allied health staff get fired. And at the same time, as they get fired, people are short-staffed and the quality that you used to experience isn't the same anymore, right? Now you're overworked. You don't like the politics of healthcare, for whatever the reason is in terms of why it is that you're quitting, right? Or the people that you see quit, right? It's all personal, but there's a common theme. And the theme itself that I've seen is that nurses are just tired of the environment. They're tired of not being able to do their job in the ways they want to do it, right? In terms of we all as nurses go into the field for the most part because we care and we want to help people. Well, as you become a nurse and you realize when you work the floor, especially in a hospital, in certain floors especially, it's like 80% charting. It's like 80% not doing the thing you want to do. And that's like a news flash. And over time, you start to burn out. You start to not like it. You get a bad taste in your mouth. You also throw in management right in there into the mix, and they throw a bad taste in your mouth, and you see people getting fired, and like all of that just, right, it combines. And the culmination of that is probably what you're seeing and the feeling that you're feeling. What I have to say to the nurses that quit is that there are pockets, right? My general advice is just like nursing, just like going to go work in any other job, right? Maybe you're a teacher at one school. It may just be that place, right? Or it may be that role, right? Let's start with the place. Let's say it's that hospital, right? And in the example of the teacher, it's that school, right? Maybe you move to a different environment. The school's better funded, right? Parents are nicer, kids are better raised, whatever it is. Same thing for a hospital. Maybe you go to a better hospital in a better location. The patients are nicer, right? The environment isn't as hectic. Maybe people aren't in survival mode because it's like in an impoverished area. Those are just things that can change that environment, that role, right? Of being a nurse on the floor. My thing that I've been saying for a while, and I still hold very true to this thought, it is that as a nurse, as long as you work bedside, and this is unfortunate, and I really hate to say this, because I don't like it. But I also experienced a lot of pain because of, like disconnecting myself from the floor, from bedside, from hospitals. At some point, you're gonna have to also feel this pain because it's not gonna get any better. You have to leave the hospital setting. That's my hot take. I think you'll be better protected. Maybe you can find a role that's in a much better situation for you, that maybe fits you better. The thing with the hospital setting that I've noticed is that, we go into there because we really care about people, right? Like that's the most important thing to us as nurses. We just want to be able to care for people, help people out. It gets harder and harder to do that component of whatever it is you want to do in your job, right? Like that pulls on your heartstrings, like that piece itself is one of the hardest to do nowadays. So like if you're going to go become a nurse to do that, and then you go into the hospital, you're gonna get your heartstrings ripped out because you're gonna realize you're gonna come face to face with the reality that it's a capitalistic society and healthcare is a business. And you're gonna see it firsthand, profits over people, like profits over humans. You're gonna see it firsthand, and it's not gonna land well on your system. So you're not gonna be able to be there very long. So when that happens, right, don't quit being a nurse. Don't do that. Pivot that role, you're still a nurse, into somewhere else. And a lot of us only think of being a nurse in a hospital. That's like the only thing that we think of. But I want you guys to understand that no, there's so many other places you could be a nurse. You could be a nurse in a school. You could be a nurse in psych. And in mental health, there's different environments, right? Acute, inpatient, outpatient, however you want to slice it. You can go into corrections. In corrections itself, it's a little less businessy in different ways because it is funded by the government. So there's different flavors to this, right? But then you also get different benefits. So maybe, you weigh out the pros and cons. Like for me, I went to go to corrections and I kind of hid out there for a while. Now I do something else, right? I work as a nurse consultant, aka more like a desk nurse role. I know that doesn't land well on a lot of nurses' systems because again, you go into it wanting to care for people, help people firsthand with your hands and actually do it. But as you've seen, it gets harder and harder to do that piece, right? So at some moment, you're gonna have to make that decision. Is it worth it, right? And this is where I see a lot of nurses say, it's not. And then they just throw the whole career out. But I'm just trying to catch you right before you throw your whole career out, right? Quit nursing. You're quitting that job. Because again, I'm trying to say, back to the teacher example, don't quit being a teacher. Quit that job and be a teacher somewhere else. Maybe for online students. You get creative and you find another place to work with that same career that you worked so hard to achieve, to obtain, right? That license that you got as an RN, it's so hard. It's not easy. Don't just throw it away and go do something else. Alternatively, you can be a nurse and try to create something on the side, right? That we have both. And then maybe when the other thing takes off more than your nursing career did, then you go with that. But that's also difficult, right? That's not easy to do. I haven't even done it. I'm making content, but my content fun side hustle doesn't take over how much I make as a nurse. So that's why I haven't stopped being a nurse. But I hope you guys are seeing the general message of what I'm trying to communicate here. There's levels to the movements here, and it's not all doom and gloom, right? Once you're a nurse and you realize you don't like it, you just move into another role in another environment / situation and give it a try. And if that one doesn't work, do the same thing again and move somewhere else and then give that a try. As a nurse, you have a means to make a good amount of money as long as you're a nurse. Maybe it's not in the hospital, and that's okay. I've experienced that pain of leaving the hospital setting, leaving the bedside so early in my career. And I hate to see nurses feel that now because I know it's painful. I know it's not a good feeling to think that you worked so hard to be a nurse and then realize you don't have a home, right? Where it is you actually want to work. But just remind yourself, because this is survival, this is a capitalistic society, you need a means of income. And nursing is a solid shovel to live a good life in America here. So I know I kind of strip away a lot of layers to look at it this way, but I just hope that some of this is helpful to hear. And I'll see you guys on the next one.